Welcome to First and 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champ AB. Alongside him is my guy, Dio the Machine. Guys, this is our season finale. It has been an amazing season, probably our most successful season when it comes to content and subscribers and things like that. We love the comments. We've had a lot of engagement, not only with just the overall fantasy football community, but just guys who are playing in their home leagues who have enjoyed the content. Thank you so much. We are still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So please, listen, you guys have already drafted. Please tell your friends about the podcast.
Stop gatekeeping.
No gatekeeping. No gatekeeping. Please tell your friends about the podcast. If you are watching this content and you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Not only that, but we are actually going to be in Vegas.
The subscribe button's going to pop up right here.
No, it's not going to
pop up.
Right.
Subscribe.
It's just right here.
Go away.
But no, we're going to be in Vegas tomorrow. We fly out tomorrow. We're going to be in Vegas. So drafting live. This is going to be our first time drafting live. So
in Vegas, drafting live in
watching
Vegas.
the game, really.
FFPC main, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Shout out to the FFPC for putting on the event. There are so many great players, fancy players out there that we've communicated with, that we've had on the pod, that we've communicated with on Twitter. Players who content I watch that I am really looking forward to chopping it up in Vegas with. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can't wait. We are less than 24 hours away from football. We made it.
We made it.
And to piggyback off of Chris, thank you all. We appreciate the love. Let's see if we can get to 1,000 subscribers. I think that's more than feasible. Keep the questions coming. Love answering questions because I feel like the questions aren't just me, here's an answer. These questions are thoughtful. These questions come with insight. These questions make me think. So
make you kind of work through it a bit.
Yeah. This isn't I'm giving out advice. This is you guys are helping me out. I'm trying to help you guys out. And honestly, I view this as kind of a community. So the more involvement, the more comments, the more interactions, we all love it. Yeah. DM us. Hit us up on YouTube. Hit us up on Twitter. We ain't going nowhere.
It's funny. I kind of see it like a therapy session.
It is.
Like a football therapy. Let's talk it through. What do you really feel?
Let's talk it out.
Speaking of football, let's go to our final episode of this season. And we are going to try to bring some bonus content, not only of Vegas, but we're also going to continue to talk football throughout the season as well. So don't feel like this is going to be the last time you guys are going to see us until next draft season.
No star sits.
Right. No star sits, they got on me about that. But let's go through 32 teams, closing remarks. Listen, we putting AB on a hot seat. We want to go through all 32 teams. And if he starts talking some bullshit, then we got to chime in on those. But
32 teams, 32 takes.
32 teams, 32 takes. I start with the Buffalo Bills. Hot take on Buffalo Bills.
I'll take on Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Really
no hot takes.
Not hot takes, just my take, just my general feel. Mm-hmm. We talked about a number of guys being drafted QB1 overall. Lamar, I think, leads the pack as far as ADP, but just throughout the season, I just feel more comfortable with Josh Allen. I still think the upside is there, rushing, touchdown. I think the receiving core is better. Mm-hmm. I think he's feeling more comfortable. I think they got a lot to prove. So I have zero issues, and I actually lean and prefer taking Josh Allen above those QBs.
Above Lamar?
Above Lamar.
Wow.
Another bonus take. I've been drafting a lot of Josh Palmer. Cannot deny it. Been drafting a lot of Josh Palmer. Yes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he's going to be a thing, but I feel like he is the only one that I think can really find his way into my lineup. I don't really like guys like Shakir or Coleman where I got to guess or where they give me minimal output. So the only receiving option I think I've really been drafting for the Buffalo Bills pretty much all offseason has been Palmer.
All right, let's talk about the Miami Dolphins. Has had bad vibes all offseason.
The worst.
Yeah, the worst vibes. How do you feel about Miami?
So the bad vibes have been on the surface and in the middle, and if you dig a little bit deeper. But honestly, there are some good vibes there. I think sometimes it gets overblown. This is more of a theory for a later pod, but I think once bad news comes out, we social media, Twitter, we just snowball on and we overestimate the amount of bad news. I think the hate on Tyreek Hill as far as their relationship with Tua, things like that, you can get and be upset and downgrade Tyreek Hill based off of last year's performance and things like that. But let's not add on, oh, he got a bad relationship with Tua, or oh, he's got this. Like limit, don't put yourself in a situation to where you're completely undervaluing him, and then he's there in the fourth round, and there's still the possibility that he could finish as a top 5, top 10 wide receiver. So no, he's not somebody that I'm actively targeting. But if I see him in the fourth round, I'm definitely not going to take the mindset of he's completely off my board. One thing that I have been loved doing of late, we talked about early in the season, I really wanted the RB2 in the Dolphins. We also talked about how sometimes we are not correct with handcuffs. I was definitely not correct with Jalen Wright. We'll see if it's Ollie Gordon.
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
And that's what I'm getting at. I don't know if it's Ollie Gordon. I think all of us, if we had to put money right now, it would be Ollie Gordon. So I think what I'm doing right now, because
Jeff Wilson, dark horse.
No, but we're seeing Achane fall to that mid-second round.
Yeah.
And I think I saw myself kind of go up and down with Achane. At first, I was really high on him. And then even before the injury, before anything happened, I was just like, I don't know. And then I came down really low on him. And then the injury happened. And then we saw his ADP start to go right back towards the mid-second round. And now I've been back up on him. And I think this is like one of those few backfields, one of those few situations where even if I'm not quite sure it's Ollie Gordon, I love taking Achane, and then I love pairing him with like an Ollie Gordon in the 10th or 11th round because
as a handcuff?
As a handcuff, yeah. And then if, you just got to be really quick to the waiver wire after week 1. If you see that Jeff Wilson is getting most of the burn, I wouldn't necessarily drop Ollie Gordon, but it's tough carrying 3 running backs on the same team, 2 handcuffs, but that's a backfield right there that I think is worth doing it. But the Achane has so much upside
but
he
has a calf injury.
He does.
Those things are scary.
Yeah. They are scary. They are scary.
That's what that's what Damian Lillard had.
Yeah.
Those things, especially, players try to get back on the field sooner than.
The thing is that,
sometimes.
and I agree with that, and I don't want to push back on that. There's no contra, and there's no opposite take. But I just will say that he is on the younger side. We don't know how severe it is. Like certain calf injuries are a lot more severe than others. And what I just keep thinking about with Devon Achane in the mid to late second is like, okay, I don't want to miss out on that.
All right, I got you. So, I guess for me, it's more because it's a player like Achane, where he's so dependent on his speed.
Yeah,
that's what is so special about his game.
Good point.
How fast he can move, and something that's literally messing up one of his wheels just scares me. And I get it.
Not comfortable.
High risk, high reward, high reward.
Yeah,
but I just wish we didn't have to deal with this.
Yeah.
All right, New England Patriots. Obviously, we don't expect the New England Patriots to make the playoffs, according to Vegas.
I wouldn't say
that.
I wouldn't say
I'm
that.
just saying, according to Vegas.
I would not say that.
Where does Vegas have them finishing?
Not finishing at the back end of the conference.
Vegas is not all that. Vegas, I feel like when I've looked, and I've gone back and looked at a lot of Vegas props, team totals, wins, and things like that. They tend to really, kind of overestimate how bad teams. Or how bad team can be really bad. I mean,
Vegas is just the public, though.
Yeah,
Vegas just taking
and that's us overestimating. Like I said, we just pile on.
All right. So, how do you feel about the New England Patriots?
I like the Patriots. I think that you can attack the Patriots in many, many different ways. The teams that attack when it comes to which offense is going to take the next level, which offense is going to have that value that allows you to really kind of dominate your leagues. Because it's those mid to late rounds, I feel like really where we want to try to find them gems. Our teams with new head coaches, new offensive coordinators, young quarterbacks who are ascending. To me, those are the best teams. They added weapons around Drake May. So I think Drake May has become one of my favorite, like everybody else, favorite late round quarterbacks to draft because of the rushing upside and the passing upside. I've come around to the fact, because I've always been battling all season, McDaniels versus Vrabel. Who wins out? Is Vrabel this sort of kind of guy that's going to dictate that they just run the ball, vanilla type offense, and just everything that I guess I've been hearing or reading lately, and really kind of what they've done on the offensive side of the ball leads me to believe that, okay, no, it's not necessarily going to be this run, a grinder in between the tackles 25, 30 times a game. So missed out on Trevion Henderson, but I don't, I still don't think I can draft him in the 3rd round. It's just not for me. But I missed out on that 5th round. I should have drafted him then, but I love Drake May. Diggs goes late. You can get him in the 8th, 9th round at times.
How do you feel about Diggs, though?
Watching Diggs cut so early in the offseason, I'd never had a doubt that he was going to be ready week 1. And if he's their number 1 wide receiver, I think he's like that perfect guy that bye week, injury. Oh, I drafted Rashee Rice. He suspended 6 games. Like, you need players like that in redraft.
Mm-hmm. I would question him being the wide receiver 1, regardless of injury, honestly.
Yeah, potential. And then Hunter Henry is kind of like, if you're trying to figure out, because I've drafted a lot of rookie and later round tight ends. It's kind of like I either draft them high and early or I just wait really late.
You don't got to say much about Henry. Nobody's targeting Henry. Henry's the player you take when you just missed out everybody.
Pretty much.
We get if you get Henry.
Yeah. All right. Also, bad vibes. New York Jets. Listen, we've heard about that offseason that Justin Fields has had, but they still have some talent. They still have Brees, still have Garrett Wilson. How do you feel about the New York Jets?
This is a team I do not feel good about at all. Gut feel. I just do not feel good about at all. And I was really big on drafting Fields, and I think he can still get there with the rushing and things like that. And then they lose Elijah Vera Tucker. I think that's a significant loss.
Mm-hmm.
Brees Hall is falling to the 5th round right now, and even then, I'm still like, maybe let me just grab a share here or there just in case. I'm not really a Braylon Allen guy because of how early he goes, and I feel like he's very one-dimensional. And if the offense is not that good, or what are we really relying on?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of rushing yards and touchdowns. I just would rather go elsewhere given like his elevated ADP. And then Garrett Wilson, I'm trying not to be biased by the preseason and what we saw, but it is really hard. I'm only human.
Yeah.
I'm only human. But a lot of Garrett Wilson is also not just based on Justin Fields or how bad Justin Fields is. It's also just Garrett Wilson. Like, we've seen him get tons of targets, and we've seen him like really not be a wide receiver 1, even with a lot of targets.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder that.
But who was his best quarterback though?
Well, that's the thing. Is like
he's never really had true good quarterback play.
Aaron
and I'm not saying Fields. No, I mean I think Aaron Rodgers is way past his prime.
But you don't think he's more accurate than Fields? Or?
See, that's what I'm saying. I don't think Fields is a good quarterback. I'm just saying, like, I don't want us to talk down on Garrett Wilson because I don't feel like we've really seen.
No,
optimal situation.
Agree. Yeah, and sorry, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Garrett Wilson is a bad player, and that's especially for the dynasty folks out there. I guess what I'm saying is that like Garrett Wilson has been in this situation before where the QB play has been subpar, and he's been targeted like at a extreme level,
right?
And it's been something where you just like wish you didn't drafted him. Yeah. So his ADP still is 3rd round.
But you can't admit this is probably the lowest his ADP has probably been ever, right?
Yeah, but should it be lower?
I don't know.
Third round?
We were taking him in the 2nd round last year. This draft season, we started taking him in the 3rd round.
Yeah. I got my shares early, so it's just a guy that I'm not drafting.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, so let's move to the NFC East. I want to start with the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, they've been in the news because of the defensive end with Micah Parsons moving to the Green Bay Packers. Yeah. But how does this affect the Dallas Cowboys fantasy-wise, and how do you feel about that offense? Because I think that's more important than talking about one player.
Yeah, I honestly don't think you should really be upgrading their offense based on the Micah Parsons. I get like Micah Parsons, like I don't think you should be like necessarily changing them all that much. Their defense wasn't necessarily supposed to be all that good. I think that was already kind of baked into the price.
Mm-hmm.
CeeDee Lamb, Pickens, everybody knows like those are great picks. I think the only thing with Pickens is like I actually do see that he can get there with volume too. He doesn't just need to be efficient. I like Jake Ferguson. I think he goes late. I think he's being slept on because if you're thinking that they're going to be throwing a lot, it can't just all be CD and Pickens. So I really like Jay Ferguson. Obviously, the biggest question mark is the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
And I still am not there with Jaden Blue. I'm not there with any of them. I don't really like taking a stab at any of them, to be quite honest.
All right, New York Giants, we don't really know where they're going to be long-term. Well, I guess towards the middle end of the season when it comes to who's going to be their starting quarterback. But obviously, they have Malik Neighbors, who we are drafting back into the 1st round. How do you feel about that quarterback situation and drafting Malik Neighbors back into the 1st?
QB situation does not bother me. I think Malik Neighbors can go as high as a 101. I really do believe that. I just took him at the 103 in a draft earlier this year in a main event. I have zero issues with that. I need more Malik Neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
So I have zero issues taking him there. I feel like he could just absolutely explode. Go back and look at his target share last year. Same OC, same head coach, QB upgrade. So imagine now that he gets efficient, and I don't know why I can't get it out of my head that I hearing that they're moving Wan'Dale Robinson out of the slot. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's a good thing for Malik Neighbors because now he can potentially move into the slot.
Matchup nightmare.
Yeah. The one thing that I wanted to mention, backfield, Tracy, Cam Scatterboo. I think I'm kind of leaning Cam. Maybe that's a Scott Barrett thing. He's just been in my ear. I can't. But the one thing that I want to mention about this team, Theo Johnson. Mm-hmm. This guy oftentimes goes undrafted, and especially in tight end premium. Just keep an eye on him. I think I've just been drafting again, either get those top 3 guys or I'm waiting really late, and he's part of that cluster that I get really late.
Speaking of tight ends that go really late, let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, Dallas Goedert has been a tight end that we've talked about for a long time in fantasy football. How do you guys think about that offense and guys like Dallas Goedert who do not get talked about at all in fantasy?
Yeah, I just think when everybody's healthy, it's tough because it's hard to know when to start him. Mm-hmm. If he's your starter and you just have him in there, you'll probably be fine. He's a guy that I'm usually not drafting unless I've just waited really, really late at tight end. And even then, I do believe this offense will pass more. And I have been targeting A.J. Brown at the back end of the second. I love grabbing him at the back end of the second round there. Mm-hmm. And Jalen Hurts has probably been one of my favorite high-end quarterbacks to draft because I put him in that tier, and I just love seeing him in the 5th round, knowing that some of these other quarterbacks will go in the 3rd round or at the 2-3 turn.
What about the Washington Commanders?
Debo, full circle. Mm-hmm. Debo has become one of my favorite people to draft in the 7th round. I think he can get there a lot of ways. That they throw it at the line of scrimmage quite a bit, screens. Obviously, their running game is in somewhat flux. Cannot rely on Austin Eckler. We love Bill.
Where you at with the Commanders running game right now?
Oh, nothing's changed for me. Bill, Eckler,
Well, I mean, where are you at? Where
I'm not drafting Bill in the 7th round, 8th round. But the shares that I do have of Bill, I think will be useful to me. When I drafted Bill, I drafted him with the idea that he was going to be useful for me at some point.
In the long term,
not for me to start him week 1. Yeah. Like you said last spot, if we having to start Bill week 1, you were probably in trouble from the gate. So, and then Austin Eckler, I'm not really there. I knew that, I know that Jaden Daniels runs. I know that they have Debo, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to have a running back. This is a high-powered offense. That doesn't mean that they're not going to have a running back that's going to be useful.
Let me ask you this. Waivers just ran tonight. We haven't had a chance to look at our waivers. Did you put a waiver claim in for Chris Rodriguez?
No.
So I put waiver. So first of all, I worked on my waivers for the last 2 weeks. So I just been
hadn't said not one word.
Right. I'm moving silence like lasagna. But I've had Chris Robinson in my waiver,
Rodriguez.
Sorry, what'd I say?
Robinson.
I don't know why I said that. I had Chris Rodriguez in my waiver, priority, whatever.
Yeah.
Today, man, I took him out of all of them.
Yeah.
I just I literally deleted. Yeah. That's what I spent today doing, deleting Chris Rodriguez from my waiver bids.
This is the one thing I wanted to say. Again, I know we're not getting into too much theory, but go back and actually listen to the quotes. Because things just get floated out. Oh, they said that Chris Rodriguez is going to be the goal line back. Look, he might be. I don't know. Okay, I don't know. But if you listen to the quote, the reporter specifically, it was the most leading question that you could have. He said, Chris Rodriguez, do you envision him in the same exact role or see him being in the same exact role as Brian Robinson and getting that, being a short yardage back, using at the goal line? He literally asked him about being, and then the head coach was basically oh yeah, sure, yeah, Chris Rodriguez, blah blah. Basically any head coach is gonna say something positive. He could have said this. I think if he would have replaced his name with Bill, I think he probably would have got a very similar answer, if not one that was more exciting.
That's one big thing. That's one big lesson Abby's always trying to teach is screw the quotes. Go watch the video or listen to the audio. Don't ignore the matter of fact. The quote gets you in the door, but actually walk through and actually see the context because sometimes it's a totally different story.
And I know they got to make their money, but you got to do your due diligence.
All right, let's move to the AFC North. I want to talk about the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, the class of the division. Do you consider them still the class of the division? How do you see them fantasy-wise?
Absolutely. I think I had to put down Super Bowl. Shout out to the Longhorn Fantasy Football League. gonna be drafting this weekend. But yeah, we're taking taking bets for like who's gonna win the Super Bowl. So I said, put me down for the Ravens. I think this team is
Over the
elite.
Texans.
So that's why when I text you earlier about us,
I'm not betting.
putting down a bet.
I'm not betting. I gave my pick. But yeah, I think this team is going to be elite. There's not really much
to talk after the show, Chris.
Yeah, there's not. I guess the only thing for me with the Ravens is I think I've just not been drafting Derrick Henry as much. Watching Keaton Mitchell run the way he again, actually getting to your point about the Super Bowl, like why run Derrick Henry into the ground? Well, now we have a healthy Keaton Mitchell. We have Justice Hill still there. I think that we may see a little bit less wear and tear on Henry throughout the season.
Mm-hmm.
Not the way he's going to be a bad pick, but just like expecting that 300-point performance, I'm a little bit weary of it. But I've been drafting a ton of Keaton Mitchell whenever I can late. Like you said, when guys rise, when JCM rises and all these other guys rise, okay, now let me go ahead and start getting my Keaton Mitchell shares in here.
Do we know if Rashaan Ali made the team or did they cut him? I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I can go to the next
and
team.
the only last thing is
he did
drafting
you made it?
Yeah.
Likely as well. So
Isaiah?
Yeah.
When do you think he's coming back?
I think in a couple of weeks. I love that they didn't put him on IR, so it's good.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, we're drafting number one pick.
The 101.
Chase,
Jamar Chase. I don't know why I went blank. We drafted Jamar Chase in 101. Let's talk about the Bengals. How do you feel?
Well, we don't know that we drafted him 101. He's in the discussion. I got nothing on the.
Well, I meant like as a fantasy community.
Yeah. I don't got anything on the Bengals. Rinse, repeat. 2024, 2025. I really don't got anything else to add or say.
Okay. No concerns with Chase.
No, their ADPs are what their ADPs are. I'm fine with them. I think I will say, like, again, going back to strategy, I keep not to try to make these longer, but drafting in the early mains, like I would say almost close to like half the season of mains, Chase Brown was going in the third round. So it is very difficult for me to like take him at the early second round because you have teams that like have Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins, and Chase Brown. So then to go back and do a draft where I'm drafting Malik Neighbors,
those teams don't have a third round that you can take now. Like it might end up being a wash just depending on how good the players end up being.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like if I look like that team that had Malik Neighbors, Nico, had Chase Brown, come back around, Kenneth Walker, Ted McMillan, and there are multiple teams. I have multiple teams where I have Chase Brown in the third round, so it's just hard.
But what I'm saying is, it's not a guarantee. Those players, that combination is better.
You're right. You're right.
We don't know. Yeah. So if you really think the player is worth it, I don't have a problem with getting them around different. Like those don't have. It's one when you get somebody like 3 or 4 rounds.
Yeah.
That I typically have a problem with.
And that's why I'm saying I can't draft him. I'm not saying don't draft him, but I can't draft him. That's why I said I'm fine with his ADP. Now, if he makes it to the back or even maybe the mid-second, kind of really just the back end of the second round, that's where I'm like, okay.
Where you see him now? Early second?
Oh, yeah, he goes to early second. He's like
really?
basically a 1-2 turn, essentially.
Really?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, we don't know where that quarterback situation is going later on in the season, especially with Shedeur Sanders.
Deshaun Watson.
I had to sneak that in. I was trying to sneak it in there. Yeah. But honestly, let's talk about that receiver room because I don't think it gets talked about enough, and I think they have some real talent.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Cleveland Browns a bit.
Everybody, literally all reports they're going to run a lot of 12 personnel. So I'm assuming their starting wide receivers are going to be Cedric Tillman and Jerry Jeudy.
They said they're going to run 12 personnel?
A lot. I think they ran very little last year, and I think they may lead or be at the top of the lead in 12 personnel. Obviously, when we hear that, we perk up. We already know about Njoku, but we perk up about Harold Fannin. And my whole thing has not been – initially when I started, I was like, man, this is bad for Njoku. Like, now you got to worry about this other tight end. But I just view them as two separate things. So – and I could be 100% wrong. I think draft Browns, they're all, I think, undervalued. Just like you always say, like, these teams are going to score points. I think they're just all undervalued. There's not a Brown that you can talk to me about that I think is not worth being drafted. Even Flacco week 1 against the Bengals, if you're in a pinch, you drafted, maybe you drafted Justin Fields, you're like, I don't know about Justin Fields against the Steelers.
Yeah.
You're like, can't necessarily argue against Flacco against the Cincinnati Bengals, and he's got to like throw for like 302 or 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
But draft them all. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, love Harold Fannin. Still been drafting Njoku. Judy, I'm there. I know you guys been on Judy. Scott's been on Judy. I've been kind of drafted. I've been like kind of here and there on Judy. Tillman goes late, but I did want to say, regarding the running backs, I think they're all, I like drafting them all.
I don't know if I agree with you on that. I'm going to give Dio his flowers on Quinshon Junkins because we all assumed that once the criminal case went away, that he was going to be signed and be on that team. And he's still unsigned as we sit here now. And there's no guarantee that they're going to sign him. And that's exactly what you said earlier on in the draft season. But let's talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers for a bit. Obviously, they have Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, DK Metcalf, who could finish receiver one on their team. How do you feel about the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Yeah, this is the opposite of the Browns for me. Y'all can have all of them. I don't want any of them. I don't think I've changed on this a waiver. Maybe I'll take Pat Freiermuth. You kind of sold me a little bit on Pat Freiermuth. Maybe I'll take a little bit of
the most incorrectly priced player on the board to me, man.
But the other ones, I don't trust Arthur Smith.
Mm-hmm.
But even less so than that, that's just a team that like this year I really want to be drafting I want to be drafting the offensive coordinator. I want to be drafting the head coach. I want to be drafting powerful offense.
You just kind of answered my question.
I would that's what I've really been trying to draft.
Let me ask you one simple question.
Yeah.
Is this going to be the Aaron Rodgers offense or the Arthur Smith offense? What do you think?
I think both of them are bad.
No, that's not what I asked.
I think it's the Arthur Smith.
Whose offense?
No, I think it's the Arthur Smith offense.
So you think Rodgers is going to?
Because the Rodgers offense doesn't work in this offense.
Arthur Smith offense doesn't work.
Arthur Smith's offense works in his offense. It just doesn't work for fantasy. I think it works for what they want to do. They have a dominant defense. They want to slow the game.
So you think it's going to be Arthur Smith is going to call the play out to Rodgers or in his ear. Rodgers is going to say, "Okay, coach, call the play in the huddle, go to the line." Not like what he sees, but be like, you know what, this is what.
I think he'll audible still here and there. I think he'll have his tendencies as far as like where he wants to go. But
Rodgers is one of the few quarterbacks where the offense is really his. Like he creates what it is. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I definitely think they're going to open it up more than they did with Fields. But they also had Russell Wilson. It wasn't like they didn't have Russell Wilson. So and like you said, Rodgers is old. He's not the same Rodgers that he was. So he's still going to have some deficiencies.
Let's talk about the NFC North a bit. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears, another offense that has tons of question marks, especially when we're talking about that receiver room. How do you feel and how do you sort of diagnose that Bears offense?
Oh, man. I'm taking a Hail Mary approach. I'm throwing darts in the dark. I'm not going to lie. But I have been drafting a ton of Luther Burden, been drafting a ton of Colston Loveland. I do not mind taking shots at Rome Odunze. I've been trying, I think I've been like a little bit greedy with him, just given where his ADP is, seeing if he can kind of fall back to me in the seventh round. Not necessarily someone I'm targeting. I do want to take some stabs at Caleb Williams because if this offense really clicks and he can use his legs, I think you could be looking at, kind of like a Baker Mayfield type season from him. And this is, talking about waivers. This may be dumb. I told you about this, but I think I just added like Olamide Zaccheaus across the board I don't even want to consider it a hedge to Luther Burden. I'm considering it almost like a bridge to Luther Burden. It's just a preseason, but I still think that they showed some things and they wanted to work on some things in the preseason. And we can talk about Olamide Zaccheaus not being anything, but he was free. Okay. And if I have Luther Burden and Luther Burden, it takes till week 10. Well, who's in the slot? And what if, Ben Johnson is basically saying, Caleb, like, this is where I want you to go with the ball. And defenses are focused on this and that, and they're dressing things up. And Ben Johnson is like, look, Zaccheaus is going to be open. He's going to be open here. So I don't want to miss the boat. Basically, I just, they play Monday night, I believe, and I don't want to miss. Zaccheaus had 7 targets, 6 receptions, 67 yards.
You know how many people you just got to jump on their laptop, open up their waivers for Sunday morning and put a claim in for a little.
The only reason I'm saying this is because I added him on secret
for every single season. Zaccheaus pickups on Sunday morning. You can blame Abby for that right there.
All right.
Listens to this pod.
Detroit Lions. Obviously, they've had some retirements, some injuries, trying to get back to what they were before. Let's talk about the Detroit Lions offense. Your boy Tesla is now seems like he's going to be a thing.
Yeah, called it, boy.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about that offense?
I don't have any issues with the offense at all. I think I still am in the camp of not all of these guys can pay off at their ADP. Mm-hmm. So you got to kind of pick and choose. Maybe you can just say, you know what, I'll just take one here or there. Injuries can happen. Anything can happen. We don't necessarily know. It's been really hard for me to buy in completely on Jameson Williams, but I've definitely been taking him. He falls in the 6th round sometimes. I love getting him there. Haven't really been getting a lot of Amon-Ra just because of where he goes.
He's having a good camp, though, it seems.
Yeah, it's just, maybe, it's just one of those
things. He tore
things.
up the Texans.
Yeah. He's
he tore up the Dolphins.
We may look back and be like, why did we doubt Amon-Ra? Like, why weren't we taking him where we should have been taking him? So that may be a mistake there. The Gibbs hype I've been kind of buying, but then of late I just been like, why am I not just taking C-Mac ahead of him? David Montgomery is a really, really good back. Mm-hmm. Like, David Montgomery is not going to just be relegated to like handcuff type role. Mm-hmm. He's going to get used. I'm not saying he's going to get used as much as he did in the past. And I'm not saying Gibbs can't pay off his ADP. I still love drafting Gibbs even at his ADP. But, I think I've just been drafting C-Mac over that. And then Stan Laporta's probably been the biggest fade of that off. Or Laporta and Montgomery have been the biggest fade. So that's kind of where I guess I have my chips.
Green Bay Packers, obviously they win the Micah Parsons sweepstakes, but we're playing fantasy football. So let's talk about that offense a bit. Do you know where you're going with the Green Bay Packers receiving room?
Everybody's trying to tell me and sell me on Golden. This is a bias that I have to overcome. I've just seen this guy for years, and the crazy thing,
fan.
Yeah,
so he was a U of H before,
and he was a U of H. Mm-hmm. And the crazy thing is, like, when I was talking about him, but like before draft, I was like, this is a really good receiver. And then he like had that combine and got drafted really high. I was like, oh, great. And then I didn't realize that like he was going to like get as much hype. And I guess it's just because like there's just, not a lot of competition there. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a lot of Golden. Kraft is also getting a lot of love. I think my take on this offense is typically that they spread the ball around. I actually see Christian Watkins coming back in. I think Christian Watkins he's a different kind of receiver, but I think when you kind of add up everything that they do well, I would much rather have Christian Watson if I'm an OC, because to me he's a game changer. Mm-hmm. Like, you talk about separate, like that dude can run. Mm-hmm. That dude can separate. That dude can run wide open. Mm-hmm. And yeah, he may not be the perfect wide receiver and may get hurt, but like when you talk about somebody who can really open up an offense, that's it. I think if they're like asking Golden to come in and open up the offense like Christian Watson did, mm-hmm. I think they're going to be in trouble early on. They're going to figure out early on that that's probably not going to work. But again, Matt LaFleur is a genius, so they could also just come out with something completely new. Yeah. They could also say, let's feature Kraft. So I've been drafting Kraft for that reason. Mm-hmm. I'm just, I don't know what to expect from this offense. I really haven't been buying much outside of Jacobs when he's at that 2-3 turn.
All right, Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, Jordan Addison is suspended for 3 games. They bring in Adam Thielen. Are you buying Thielen being able to be plugged into that offense and to help JJ McCarthy?
I'm not even thinking about Thielen. Maybe he might be a thing for whatever time, but my biggest thing about the Minnesota Vikings is I just don't have good vibes on them. I just think that they're going to have a really good defense. I think that they're going to really want to run the ball. And I just don't think the passing volume is going to be there. I'm worried about this offense. I've been passing on JJ in all drafts.
You worried about Kevin O'Connell offense?
Yeah, I just think, I don't know what it is. I just feel like they are not going to be pass happy like they've been, or like,
So you just think they're just not going to be pass happy?
Yeah, I just the pass volume. Like, I'm not necessarily worried about the offense from a standpoint of them being functional. Like, I think that this is like a Super Bowl contender team if JJ can play. But I just don't think that the way that they win is by JJ doing what the Minnesota Vikings have done over the last couple of years. Because remember, like, at the very beginning of the offseason, I was like, oh, JJ's a steal. Like, look what they did with this guy. Look what they did with that guy. But
he's a wild card for sure. Yeah, because if he has any kind of passing chops, he's going to be a pretty good value because I still expect him to run.
That's the thing. So that's why I still like drafting him. So. But it's just where all these targets going to go. Are they going to pay off their ADP? That's the only one thing I'm concerned about.
All right, let's go to the AFC South. Let's talk about our hometown Houston Texans. 25-1 odds to win the Super Bowl, by the way. But obviously we feel good about the Texans because that's our hometown team, but let's talk about that receiving room and also the running back situation is there as well. How are you sort of navigating the fantasy landscape with the Texans?
I got this one. All right, so for the passing game, so it's still Nico all day long.
Yeah.
Wide receiver, the potential overall wide receiver 1 type season, potentially. You know, that's the vibe. That's what everybody hopes for. But I will say, Christian Kirk has been viewed as the wide receiver 2. And he's just gonna leave during my part. Christian Kirk he's viewed as the wide receiver 2. He's being utilized as the wide receiver 2 in 2 and 3 wide receiver sets. The third wide receiver at the moment has been Hutchinson. There's a chance eventually, as the season progresses, Jada Higgins can kind of, get in there and kind of take that role. But as of now, today, in week 1, expect for it to be Hutchinson. Noel has had actually one of the better camps out of all the receivers, but it might take some time for him to kind of, secure his role on that offense.
Yeah, like he seems like a natural sort of slot for that offense.
I think he's actually probably one, if not the most talented receiver we have on the team, honestly. And I'm very excited for the future with him. Moving on, the tight ends is not just the Schultz show. Stover is being utilized a lot. You might see a lot of 2 tight end sets. We have a new offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, came from the Rams, formerly for the Patriots. He used to coach the tight ends in New England, so he has that tight end background. The only thing about it, neither Schultz nor Stover are big receiving options. Now, of course, they can surprise, but right now, neither of them is somebody I would be excited about having on my team, even in like a long roster dynasty team. I wouldn't be excited. But if you see them do something early in the season, you see they have some kind of role, or they actually show a little bit more talent in the passing game than what you're used to, then maybe consider, picking them up for cheap because most people are going to be skeptical. As far as the running game, it's the Chubb show right now. I know people are kind of skeptical about that because of the bad,
injury
vibe
history.
you've heard about Chubb this whole summer as far as how he's looked from the beat writers. And, I talked to one specifically. He has a show, Locked on Texans. I talked to him a few weeks ago. He also has been to several practices. He's talked about how bad Chubb has looked. And he actually told me he thinks Woody Marks should be the starting running back. But with all that being said, from the coaching staff, from practice reports, from practices, it's always been Chubb running back 1. So it's going to start the season like that. So he's going to have, first chance to prove himself. If he doesn't prove himself, they're going to try other options. Everybody wants to look at Pierce. Pierce hasn't been good for us for a few years now, whether it's due to scheme, whether it's due to injury. Now, Pierce, he's smaller now than he was when he was a rookie. Like, he purposely slimmed up his body. I think that was a detriment to him because part of his game his rookie year was being able to break tackles, be able to run, run angry. So, if he gets the opportunity, he has a chance. But I'll say from the Texans fan base, a lot of the fan base were curious as far as whether Dameon Pierce should be cut. So that's the sentiment from the Texas fan base. But I personally, if I was looking for somebody there, I'd probably take the shot at Woody Marks because he's the unknown. He has the fresh legs. He led the NCAA. I think this is the case. Don't quote me on this, but I think he led the NCAA in receptions as a running back last year. So he has that passing game to it. So if he does get the role as a starting running back and with the passing game involvement, he could be very fruitful as far as fantasy is concerned. And then on top of all that, CJ is CJ. I don't expect too much fantasy production because, he doesn't run too much, but I expect him to pass well. But the defense is legit this year. The defense is going to be, they're going to be hungry. They're going to cause turnovers. They might, and this is the problem they had last year, they might accidentally, let me not say accidentally, but they might be at risk for big explosive plays, so that might be, unfortunate situations. But overall, they're going to get sacks. They're going to get turnovers, going to get interceptions. D'Amico Ryans is going to show they're going to be a top 3 defense this year.
All right, let's talk about the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, they have named Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback, which sort of changes the fantasy landscape there for a bit. We saw Tyler Warren sort of get pushed up boards a bit. How do you guys see that offense as well?
Yeah. Shout out to Dale because he was definitely on the Warren greater than Loveland. We'll see how it plays out, but that discussion definitely led me to taking a lot more Warren. And based on the market, Warren is greater than Loveland based on ADP.
They blew it out the water with
that. So, and actually, I really like taking him. Even in I think his ADP in the 6th round is warranted. I think you could even take him in the 5th round because all those wide receivers sort of kind of are in flux and really in that same tier. So if you just kind of want to lock up a tight end and a tight end premium, Tyler Warren in the 5th round is great. I've been still hitting the button on Michael Pittman. He still continues to go late. I think this first read offense, I think they'll still do some RPOs even with Daniel Jones. I think the biggest thing with Daniel Jones getting the job for me has been Jonathan Taylor. So you've seen his ADP increase just a tad bit. But, I love drafting Jonathan Taylor, and I think he has I believe anyway, a clear handcuff in DJ Giddens.
So let me ask you real quick, Downs or Pittman?
Oh yeah, I just said Pittman.
Pittman over Downs?
Yeah, it's been Pittman kind of throughout. I just think until they trust Downs, to be on the field constantly, I think it's just going to be very, very difficult.
You think he's still going to play only 3 wide receiver sets?
I think so.
So Pierce would be wide receiver 2?
Yeah, and actually been low key getting a few shares of like Adonai Mitchell. He's had quite a bit of buzz, and I was actually big on him last year. And it may be like one of those guys that like needed another year. So if he replaces Pierce, like I could easily see him replacing Pierce in the 2 wide receiver sets because he's just a more dynamic receiver, bigger receiver, probably can block a little bit better. Downs is great. It's just they have a role for him, and I don't know if that role is something we can rely on week to week in fantasy.
All right, give us your take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. I know that running back room is a bit
without mentioning Travis Hunter.
Without mentioning Travis Hunter, right? I know that running back room is a bit muddied with ETN, Tootin, and then also Bigsby. Who do you trust more in drafting in that running back room?
Definitely. Well, actually, I have a lot of ETN. I have a lot of Tootin. They just go so late. And I don't view it as like this is the guy throughout the year. I view it as like I'm going to be able to use these guys at various points in the year. So, and we want to talk about this a lot next year. We didn't do it enough this year, but I really want to talk about roster constructions. Not in the standpoint of like hero RB, zero. Like there's so much more to it. And I think we all feel it when we draft. Like you're drafting these old guys. You're like, damn, this team is old. Let me add some young guys. Or damn, this team looks like it's going to start off like fire, but can I rely on these guys to be there in December? So Travis Etienne, I like for like the start of the year, and then they have an easy matchup. So it's like, to me, it's like, or theoretically an easy match. I think the D-line's gotten a little bit better, but for the most part, like the Carolina Panthers, they're not playing like the Texans or somebody like that. So a matchup where Vegas probably has a higher point total than I think most games. So I like, ETN to start the year. And then I have a ton of Tootin just because I was big on him pre-draft process. They seem excited about him. Maybe somebody gets traded. Maybe somebody gets injured. But if this isn't a playoff team and they want to look at their young talent, like that's a guy that you can see really coming in at the end of the year or taking a job once he gets a little bit more acclimated to the system. So I like both of them. I really haven't been in on Bigsby because my thought process from the very beginning was that they really want somebody in there who can catch the ball.
Passes, yeah.
And I feel like he struggled with that, even though he already did that in college. But I think he's just struggled with that. And so both, ETN for sure, which is why I think he's been kind of my favorite to draft. Tootin, I think he wasn't really a huge pass catcher, but yeah, this is definitely one of those offenses that I think, maybe we're overhyping a little bit, but outside of Brian Thomas, like they're not going high.
Yeah. I saw a quote, I don't know if it was yesterday or maybe today, and I think it might have been from one of those underdog guys.
Yeah.
Maybe it's somebody else, excuse me if I'm misquoting, but they saw an article where a NFC team, I don't know if it was a coach, I guess it had to be a coach, an NFC team that was one of the opposing teams to the Bucs last year was talking about how the Bucs was the only team that they played where the offense was always one step ahead of them the whole game. And like he is the article, and I wish I could locate it, maybe I could retweet it out, but the article was like just shocked how well prepared the Bucs were and how literally every step of the game they were always ahead of them, and they couldn't figure out how that was the case.
Yeah.
So they were really impressed. They said Liam Coleman was probably the only offensive mind that he was scared of last year. So that was kind of intriguing to me.
I mean, I remember hearing an interview with Sean McVay, and he was excited. He was talking because obviously, like they have history, but he was talking about how he had gotten off a phone call with Liam Cohen, and he was just blown away by his run scheme. blown away, not just by him using two backs, but just like the run scheme and like how he like designed the run scheme towards the the skill set of his backs. And when you have like an offensive line mind like Sean McVay commenting and speaking so highly of a Liam Cohen, like that tells you something. So, piggybacking off of what you said, we could be in for some fireworks in Jacksonville.
All right, let's talk about the Tennessee.
Shout out to Shelly. I know you're watching.
Let's talk about the Tennessee Titans. Number 1 draft pick. They take Cam Ward. Obviously, we feel good about his connection with Calvin Ridley. But is there anyone else who you expect to actually produce in fantasy?
Ridley, yeah, but the tough thing with Ridley is that Cam Ward is still a rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he wasn't like this elite prospect. I know he went 1 overall, but he's still a rookie quarterback. And I just kept going through I actually went through the Titans schedule, and I was like, damn, this does not look fun.
Mm-hmm.
So you get excited to draft these guys, and then you go to start your lineup for week 1. You're like, oh damn, he got to see Patrick Surtain.
That's actually exactly what I was going to say. I was actually going to speak on that.
Ever.
I have a lot of Ridley, and I didn't realize they were playing the Broncos week 1, and I'm scared. I almost feel like that was a wasted pick now. Because
if you draft deep, remember that's why guys like Pittman,
I can't start him this week.
Yeah, Pittman, ETN, or whoever. You draft so many guys you drafted late. I'm never in the mindset of I drafted a guy in the 5th round. He's got to be in my starting lineup. Yeah. No, your ass can find a bench.
I'm not playing Ridley this week.
Let's talk about the NFC South. I'll speed up a little bit. Atlanta Falcons. Are you expecting anyone outside of obviously? I keep saying obviously. I don't know why. I feel like I've said that a million times now.
Yeah, it's me and her.
Yeah.
Try to minimize that.
Yeah, but let's talk about Bijan. Is going number 2 in most drafts. We're drafting Drake London in the 2nd round. Is there anyone else on that?
Bijan kind of scares me now, by the way.
All right, talk about it.
I mean, they just lost those 2 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And I think their some kind of Vegas state went down. I don't know if it's wins or point total. Something went down, and it was a big difference, you know. So that scares me.
I will say, maybe this year 2 in the offense, maybe they click. They feel like they just haven't gotten over the hump, but maybe they click. And if this offense clicks, maybe they can do something. I'm interested to see if Penix is that guy. I think we put a lot of faith in this offense. Penix is a guy that I feel potentially could be startable too if he's able to make that next step. But there's a lot of ifs. You're taking a lot of risks by drafting. I won't say a lot of risks, but you're taking some risk.
I mean, like I said,
we're drafting some of these guys.
Penix is left-handed.
Yeah.
So his right tackle is blindside blocker. That's what they just lost.
Yeah.
Who just signed an extension this summer. So
we'll see.
I'm a little nervous.
I'm drafting these guys. I would say Darnell Mooney I probably have not drafted, but that's probably just more a mistake and blindside on my spot than me just not being in on him.
All right, 2 questions about the Carolina Panthers. 1, how do you feel about Xavier Legette? And 2, how are you navigating that backfield?
I'm not drafting Xavier Legette. Y'all can have him. I've been drafting a ton of Ted McMillan. He's found his way into the 3rd round. I don't know that I've been doing that in the 3rd round. Chuba, again, we will hate so much that the guys will fall to a round where they are values. Mm-hmm. So I think you've seen them fall to the 6th round, the back end of the 5th round. You started, that back end, a lot of people go wide receiver. Chuba is as your hero RB or your 0 RB back, your first RB back maybe.
Have you taken a share of Dottle?
Oh yeah, I take a lot of Dowdle. I don't take a lot, I'm targeting him, but he's in that late round. He's not necessarily someone that I'm targeting. I don't know what plans they have for Travis Etienne. I don't know what happens if Chuba goes down and maybe it's a split backfield. But I think Dowdle is probably someone that they'll trust him with. Mm-hmm. To me, the only person I've really been targeting in his offense is Ted.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, I know Jatavius Sanders.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say his name. Everybody's been excited about him. But Tommy Tremble is back. Mm-hmm. He practicing full. He's not even on the injury report. So I don't know what kind of role he's going to have, but he was starting over Sanders before.
The one thing I think, if I can remember, at least at Texas, I don't know if anything's changed recently, but Taven Sanders is definitely more of a receiving tight end. He's not really he's not a big guy. He's not a blocking tight end. I know a lot of teams, if you can't do both, you can't find your way on the field consistently.
And they drafted.
That's why I'm not big on Chig and guys like that.
They drafted Mitchell Evans. I want to say he went to Notre Dame. But he's good.
Yeah.
4th rounder. He's good. Like if he ever gets an opportunity for whatever reason, that's definitely a person I'm trying to add on as many dynasty teams and maybe on some redraft teams.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I want to mention when we're talking about the Titans, but I think Julius Chestnut is their running back 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're looking for somebody for waivers, a dollar bid or dynasty, you consider adding Julius Chestnut to your He's gross, but he's one injury away.
Yeah.
He's one injury away.
You're right.
And we're talking about Pollard, who was injured a fair amount last year.
Yeah.
He's not a big back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're right.
All right, New Orleans Saints. Chris Olave is presumably healthy again. How do you guys feel about the New Orleans Saints receiving options?
Man, I feel like I lost this one because I feel like I have not been able to hold my conviction that Olave was an absolute steal in value, and I've succumbed to the public sentiment that this offense is just going to be terrible. I don't think that their quarterback the situation is going to be as bad as it was last year. I get how bad he was last year and how bad it was last year, but that's a completely different offense. So again, I draft offensive coordinators and head coaches. I have some trust in Kellen Moore, so I have some trust that things are going to be improved. Pre-snap motion, moving guys around, easy layups, screen passes, things like that. And I trust that he will get Olave the ball. I just think that my hopes of having a truly dominant season, like where he just really exceeds expectation, you're gonna be hard pressed to get that unless they trade for somebody, which I'm not gonna put out of the realm of possibility, or bring in another quarterback, or maybe Tyler Shuff, is able to sort of kind of find his way through. But that's a scary situation, to be quite honest.
All right, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. How do you feel about that receiving room, knowing that Chris Godwin is probably not going to be playing week 1? I think he's doubtful for week 1. May come back after week 2 or 3. How do you guys feel about the Tampa Bay Bucks?
I don't think we know when he's coming back. They also have a very kind of tough schedule. I think, the real answer is I don't know. Because Mike Evans has the highest ADP, but he's old. And I know, metric-wise, he looked good, but, eye-wise, watching the games, no, he looked old. He looked old, okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't understand why the metrics look so good and the analytics look so good, and then I'm watching the game, I'm like, this dude does not look as good as this metric says.
Yeah.
But he's still going to get targeted, and he's still going to get used in the red zone. You don't need to be fast and agile to be a big body in the red zone, which he's just dominated and been a bully his entire career. Emeka, I'm still not convinced that he's this super elite wide receiver prospect, but I think he's definitely good enough to be a wide receiver 1 upside type player. So, what I think of him from a talent standpoint is almost irrelevant. He's good enough to be a wide receiver 1, and I think he could be the wide receiver 1. So I had so many early late shares. Kind of going back to our situation, only this one is multiple rounds. Is it worth drafting him now? Do I try to build different teams? And it must be that I am really that in on him that I am still willing to take him 5th round. If he's there in the 6th round, I think it's definitely just take him. So definitely been high on him. Godwin, man, I don't know. I talked to one ortho. They tell me stay away. I talked to another ortho. They say, I could see him being 80, 90%, towards the back half of the year. Talk to one PT. They say stay away. I talked to another PT. Carlos is like, yeah, first, 6, 7 weeks, tough. But then once he gets back, and then when he comes back, everybody keeps, again, just, you automatically go to the new shiny toy and you're like, nah, Emeka's going to destroy this role. There's no way Chris Godwin's going to get his role back. He's going to be automatic number 1, wide receiver on his team. I won't say that can't happen. I'm not saying that can't happen, but I feel like a lot of that's just kind of wish casting. They did just pay Godwin. So that's a tough situation.
All right, let's move to the AFC West. I want to talk about the Denver Broncos. This is year 2 of the Bo Nix experience. Him and Cortland Sutton had a connection last season. How do you guys see that offense picking up where they left off?
I'm meh on the passing game. They're fine where they go. Running game. Still give me RJ Harvey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, I still want RJ Harvey.
Even after the season that J.K. Dobbins had last season, looked pretty good.
I still kind of want RJ Harvey.
All right. And who is the second option, receiving option for that offense? Because I don't feel like we've been drafting any other receiving options outside of Cortland Sutton.
3 options, but I would target 2.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't target Marvin Mims, who's probably going to start off as wide receiver 2. Probably go for Troy Franklin or Pat Bryant because I think they probably have higher ceilings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so. Pat Bryant.
Oh, what's your take on Evan Ingram?
He doesn't excite me.
He fell to me in the 8th round of a main. Middle of the 8th round, I just said, and I didn't have a tight end. I just let him go.
Really?
I just let him go. I just let him go. I'm like I have 0 tight ends. He fell to me in the 8th round. I'm in the middle of the 8th round. I'm just like, nah, he's not going to. So apparently, I'm not in on him.
Kansas City Chiefs finally got some clarity with Rashee Rice, but they still have some offensive weapons on that offense. Are you guys seeing a resurgence from Patrick Mahomes this season? Do you think that offense can get what they had, in previous years?
Gut feeling, no. But I don't know. I just feel like they don't give me enough of the discount to really be able to get Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got to bet Xavier Worthy versus Kelsey. I just been hammering Rashee Rice to be quiet. I think I just got blinders on. I just see Rashee Rice there in the 6th round, and I just hammer it. That's just been mine.
What about any takes on their running backs?
So early I was getting a lot of Isaiah Pacheco because he was going 8th, 9th round. Mm-hmm. So that was easy. It includes main events early on. Now in the 6th round, I'm less on that. I'm not really a fan of that. So I've been getting a lot of Rashad Smith, and I love the free preview. I'm really interested to see how they utilize him.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Las Vegas Raiders bring in Geno, Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator, Ashton Jeanty as their running back. So a lot has changed in Las Vegas now. How do you see that offense?
Oh man, this is one of the games I really want to watch closely and watch multiple because I'm just so curious to see what this offense is going to look like. Mm-hmm. I want to see what kind of offense is going to be run. They're going to be a lot of 12. They're going to who's going to is Bowers going to get the targets he's going to get? Is this line going to hold up? Can Ashton Jeanty overcome the line? Is Ashton Jeanty going to be using the passing game? Is Geno going to be a quarterback that I'm going to want to pick up after week 1? Because this offense looks competent. They're airing it out. Yeah. I feel like they've given Geno the reins. I feel like they really believe in him. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to hold him back. And if this is a competent offense, I think Geno could actually be a waiver wire gem at some point.
All right. Los Angeles Chargers. Najee is back practicing. He's ready to go for week 1. Obviously, we've been drafting Amarion Hampton pretty high, assuming that he is going to take the lion's share of that backfield. How do you feel about that split and drafting Amarion Hampton?
I think he's fine where he goes. I don't really have an issue with
Where's he going?
At the 3rd round, basically. I don't have an issue with where Najee's going either.
Also, Lat, because Lat was going, mid-1st round. Mid 2nd round early on. Now he's mid-3rd round.
2-3. Yeah, he's kind of 2-3 turn. Mm-hmm. He's someone I don't get a lot of because he usually goes before I'm ready to take him. Now that he's falling kind of towards that mid-2nd, or I shouldn't say mid-2nd, but early 2nd. Once that top tier goes for me, and if I need a wide receiver,
you're talking about 3rd, man.
Yeah, 3rd. Yeah, 3rd. He's right there with Higgins for me. Mm-hmm. T. Higgins,
Any chance that Keenan Allen can turn back the clock and provide some fantasy value?
I think so.
All right, Dio, no? West, Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray is back. We are still drafting Marvin Harrison, right? Or are we just out after last season?
I just cannot draft Marvin Harrison.
What about McBride?
I draft Tanner McBride.
Okay.
I've actually been drafting more Kyler. Again, sometimes the hate can go too far. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at Kyler in the 12th round and go look at his schedule to start the year, look at his schedule to finish the year. Kyler is someone I love having in the committee, especially if he decides that he wants to run. Kyler is, kind of like the Amari Cooper of quarterbacks, where if mentally he's in a good space, he's feeling good, he can just go out there and dominate. If mentally he's like in today's not, this week, maybe he's not into it. So I think a lot of it's just going to be dependent on how good they are.
All right.
This team is competing. Yeah.
Los Angeles Rams, Matthew Stafford seems to be healthy, ready to go week 1. Are you guys still smashing a button on Devontae Adams, or have you pulled up a bit?
Can't stop, won't stop.
Where are you taking him? Or where were you taking him?
So I was taking him in the 3rd round.
Right. But now he's going.
Now he's going to the 4th.
Anywhere, he's going back in the 3rd, very, very back, 311, all the way to 504.
Yeah.
So where are you taking him?
So I try to get him in the 4th round now because I'm greedy. I'm greedy. I'm trying to get it all.
All right. Last 2 teams, San Francisco 49ers. We always talk about C-Mac, but how are you guys seeing that receiver room with Juan Jennings and then also Pearsall?
Is it one? It's Juwan.
I think it's one.
We've had this.
I gotta find this out.
We'll find out. Kittle. C-Mac. And then Pearsall was great when he was going late. I mean, now he's going 6th round. I don't think I'm there for the 6th round.
All right. And what with who in the 6th round?
Pearsall.
Oh, okay, but you're still smashing the button on Kittle though.
Oh yeah. I just took him in the 3rd round just recently.
All right, Seattle Seahawks. People don't seem to be able to decipher that running back room. I mean, Charbonnet goes really high for a guy who is clearly the backup running back. Obviously, people feel differently.
That's the thing is that people don't think he's clearly the backup.
All right, but how do you feel about that offense? How do you feel about that backfield?
I still like Kenneth Walker. I've always been getting Kenneth Walker in the 4th round. Mm-hmm. So then when he had the hype train, he was going in the 3rd round. So then I just stopped drafting him. I was getting other people then. But now he's going back in the 4th round. So I like him in the 4th round. The 4th round is fine. 4th round is also now where Breece Hall goes. You don't feel good about Breece Hall.
Yeah.
If you want to wait, you don't feel good about any of those guys. You're drafting James Conner in the 5th. You're drafting Chuba in the 5th. He's not going that far from those other guys.
Yeah. So,
the idea with Kenneth Walker is just that this scheme is just so elite that this guy who's explosive is just breaking off 50, 60-yard runs. They are dominant. And maybe what if he only needs 15 touches a game? Mm-hmm. And then he's also getting some love in the passing game. You can have a world where Charbonnet gets, his sort of kind of 1B work and Kenneth Walker gets his 1A work. Mm-hmm. I think the Charbonnet allure is just betting on a Kenneth Walker upside and a Kenneth Walker injury. Yeah. And normally I would think that would be a bad bet, but I mean, Kenneth Walker's been injured a lot. So it's I can't, I can't do it. I cannot draft Zach Charbonnet in the 8th round. I just cannot. There's just too many players going around that area. But I also 100% can see how that can just pay off and be a winning strategy as well.
What's crazy is that we've been talking about fantasy football for months now, and finally tomorrow we get a chance to see what takes were right and what takes were wrong with the first game of the season. We'll be in Vegas to watch that game. Let's closing remarks. What do you guys want to tell the fantasy community before we head out before this first game? Obviously, we'll get a chance to kind of post some content while we're in Vegas, but closing remarks, want to give anything?
Yeah, man. I just want to say, again, I appreciate everyone listening in. Like Dale said, this is, a lot of therapy for us. We get to sit here and talk football. This is a process for me. I think the biggest thing for me is this actually helps me with my draft process. Yeah. With figuring out what players I'm in on, helps to sharpen me. And then you got guys like Deo and Chris even, who just think very differently, who are doing as much grinding, if not more, bringing so much to the table. And then now we got our listeners chiming in. And our listeners are not just coming at us with oh, great show, this and that. Our listeners are coming at us with man, that is a bullshit take.
Yeah.
Boom, 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 boom. So we appreciate it. I really do feel it's a 1st and 15 hashtag stay ready type community. And we sharpen each other's knives. We are here and we will be here, not just in the off season now. We are going to be putting out some content in season. We're gonna be in Vegas. Be on the lookout for that.
And we got to get people on the show too. Like we got to get famous on the show.
Yeah. We got to get people on the show. But I'm just ready for some football.
All right, guys.
So some actionable items. First off, I understand it's a long season. It's a grind. Y'all two just said, we're gonna find out all these takes from tomorrow. No, we're not.
Right.
It's gonna take a while.
But
we're not even gonna find out after week 2, 3, 4. Like it's gonna take.
We start to unwrap the gift.
Right.
Is what I'm saying.
It's gonna start being revealed. The picture's gonna start being revealed, and you decide whether you're being revealed a lot of the picture or this is just a small smidget and it's not really telling you much.
Yeah.
So just understand that. Okay. Understand that regardless of how well our takes are, or your takes are, or anybody's takes are, or how well they see the situation and landscape, that these situation and landscapes can change like this. Like they can change very quickly. Like we can sit here and say, the running backs for, let's say, the Jets, right? Like we see them using Braylon Allen. If Braylon Allen gets hurt week 1, first quarter, and Isaiah Davis gets hurt, it's the Breece Hall show. Yeah. And he might be a super value. Then everybody that took him 4th round are going to be able to do victory laps. Yeah. When in reality, it just the situation just happened to fall in their favor, or of course, the guy you end up picking could get hurt. So you could have had a great pick, like people that picked Rashee Rice last year. Great pick, but he gets hurt. Week 4, week 5, because Mahomes takes out his knee, and then it's gone. So just understand situations can change. Stay on that grind. Don't be discouraged. Don't worry about whether you lose first week, 2, 3 weeks. Like I've had teams where I've had a team I started 0-7. And I made the playoffs. Yeah. It's possible. You have to keep grinding. The biggest advice would be don't worry about competing against your opponent. Just try to score as many points you can.
Yeah, I don't even look at score.
Don't even look at your opponent's team. Yeah. Just score as many points you can, and then everything will fall into place. Work on waivers early. I start working on waivers like Monday night. Maybe while I'm watching the game, or right after the game, or Tuesday. Like I don't wait until waiver day to work on my waiver, because I like to put some waivers in, almost like placeholders, and then go back and make adjustments as needed. It'll help you save time, especially if you have a lot of teams. But yeah, understand contingency values. Like understand it. Understand people that are what we like to say one injury away, because it can be a guy that nobody knows, cares about. You're Emmanuel Wilson for the Packers, maybe. Nobody drafted him, but he could be one injury away to being a superstar. Like I said, Julius Chestnut could be one injury away.
Wide receivers too.
There's players like wide receivers too. They're all over the board. And if you just kind of don't let your roster stay stale, if you know it's a player you're not going to be able to utilize, throw that player back in the pool. Get somebody else that think can just fall into place where right now you're picking them up for $1. Next week, everybody else could be trying to pick them up for $200. So just try to stay ahead of the game. That's where the stay ready mantra comes from.
Yep.
And yeah, man, let's get that money.
Yeah, man.
Let's get that money.
Y'all thought this was a game.
Let's get that money.
This was the easy part.
Yeah,
the off-season grind is the easy part.
Yeah.
Now we're in season. Yeah. Not the real work starts.
All right, man. That is our episode this week. Please like, rate, subscribe. We're out.